Have you ever stopped to think that maybe you live like a slave and you don't ever release it? You run every single day, chasing money, chasing status, chasing things. But when your head is still at night, there is an emptiness nothing can fill. And do you know what hurts the most? It's realizing that society made you believe this is normal. They stole your time, your peace, your very sense, and they trade it all for illusions. And the worst part? You separate it. This is the disease of greed. It doesn't just destroy your life, it erupts your soul. So to begin with, let us understand that greed is not simply a desire for more. Rather, it's an emotional concept that silently corrodes the soul. In other words, it's not about ambition, progress, or self-motivation. It convinces you that no matter what you already have, it will never be enough. At first sight, it may seem harmless. After all, wanting to win, achieve, or succeed appears natural. However, the truth is that greed becomes truly destructive when you don't know what is genuinely important for yourself. And here lies the danger. If you don't have clear values or principles, greed will manipulate you, leading you to pursue everything wildly without any sense of balance. Now, the most dangerous chapter of anyone's life does not necessarily begin when one is poor, anonymous, or struggling. On the contrary, it usually begins precisely when you start earning, achieving, or reaching success. Why? Because it is at that very moment that greed knocks at your door most strongly. Of course, money is important. Naturally, I also like money very much, and it would be hypocritical to deny its relevance in society. Yet, money is only a tool, not the purpose of life. Take for example Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a billionaire football player who throughout his journey accumulated not only trophies and admiration but also monumental cash flow. Still, the question invariably arises, why does Cristiano keep playing, training and working hard if he already possesses everything that most people dream of? At this point, we can consider two main reasons. Firstly, when someone reaches a certain level of wealth, money gradually loses its meaning. Indeed, when everyone around you has abundance, the pursuit of material possessions ceases to be the central goal. Instead, people start searching for something deeper, their true purpose. They begin asking themselves profound questions like, why am I here? What is the meaning of my existence? What was I made or what was I truly made for? This explains why many wealthy individuals, despite having their bank account full, continue working in what they love, whether it's playing football, taking care of animals, cutting vegetables, or simply spending time in the nature. In such cases, it's not about money anymore, it's about fulfilling their calling, and that, my friend, is something that is born inside the soul and can be bought. Secondly, however, there is the dark possibility that Cristiano Ronaldo or any other successful person continues playing not because of passion, but because of insatiable hunger for more money, more power, more fame, more pleasures. And when you already have more than enough, yet still desire endlessly, then you are no longer free. You have become a slave of greed. Being enslaved by greed transforms everything. You start measuring yourself by comparison. You cannot tolerate others winning. You desire not only their victories, but also their positions, their cars, their results, their status, and sometimes even their relationships. Remember the biblical example of David, who desired Bathsheba, the wife of his loyal soldier? Such is the power of uncontrolled greed. It blinds, corrupts, and drives people to betray even their closest allies. As a result, you may achieve enormous power at running countless admirers, but at the very same time, you also accumulate enemies. Indeed, unchecked greed does not just create admirers. It breeds envy, resentment, and hostility. And the worst part is that while greed destroys the world around you, it mainly destroys you from within. Paradoxically, you may own everything: luxury cars in your garage, money in your bank, power in your hands, admirers who follow you, women who want you. Yet, at the same time, you feel an overwhelming happiness. And this is why so many people self-destruct, because having too much driven by greed, they eventually lose the very pleasure of living. And once someone loses the pleasure of living, everything collapses. Now, it's important to make a distinction. If you have achieved abundance but without greed, you may also feel a certain happiness, but it is of a completely different nature. This happiness carries meaning. It indicates that your soul is tired of illusions, of superficiality, of fake people and false appearances. It's a signal that you are searching for originality, authenticity, simplicity, and above all, real love. Furthermore, when money becomes common, when everyone has access to wealth, it inevitably loses value. For example, in a meeting among billionaires, no one cares about the fashion brands or how you dress, because such things no longer matter. What truly matters is knowledge, wisdom, secrets of life, and perspectives far beyond material possessions. In fact, the world elite often manipulates power to maintain equality, using tools like inflation to ensure that poor remain poor while the rich go richer. This is not a recent phenomenon. It is a strategy that has been repeated throughout history in different forms, whether through empires, monarchies, large corporations, or modern financial systems. The game has always been the same: control the flow of wealth, set the rules of the economy, and shape the perception of value. They understand one crucial principle: things only have value because we, people, give them value. Money, for example, is nothing more than printed paper or digital numbers on a screen. Yet, because we collectively agree that it represents power and resources, it governs our lives. The same logic applies to brands, companies, religions, schools, social media platforms, and even the entire political system. All of them exist and dominate only because people choose, whether consciously or unconsciously, to recognize their authority, status, and importance. Think about it: a luxury brand will have no influence if people stop associating its products with prestige. A social media platform will instantly collapse if millions of users abandon it in a single day. A political party will lose its relevance if citizens collectively decided to withdraw their trust. In other words, power does not truly belong to the elite. It belongs to the masses who agree willingly or passively to maintain the system running. The elites, however, know how to manipulate this collective recognition. They create illusions of scarcity, fabricated narratives through media, and use economic mechanisms like inflation and interest rates as invisible chains. By doing so, they make sure that the majority of people remain trapped in a cycle of survival, too busy worrying about paying bills, putting food on the table, or keeping up with the debt to realize how much power they truly hold. Meanwhile, the wealthy not only protect their privileges but also expand them, accumulating influences that reach politics, culture, education, and even belief systems. At the core of it all lies a profound truth: nothing has inherent values. Gold, oil, diamonds, paper money, digital tokens, or social status, none of these matter by themselves. They matter because humanity as a collective has agreed to assign meaning to them. The moment this agreement shifts, an entire system can collapse overnight, as history has shown with fallen empires, collapsed currencies, or outdated ideologies. The elite knows this fragility very well. That's why they invest so much in controlling narratives, shaping desire, and convincing people to worship symbols of wealth, success, and power. They fear the possibility of people ignoring to the realization that power is only real when it's recognized. If humanity decided collectively to value something else, like unite, knowledge, or justice, the entire structure of inequality could be dismantled. But until that ignoring happens, the cycle continues. The poor remain trapped by invisible chains of necessity and debt, while the rich feed on the collective illusion they themselves helped to build. Think about it: in the desert, water becomes priceless. When you are starving, food is the only thing that matters. If everyone is blind and you are the only one who can see, then your vision is infinitely valuable. Thus, true worth is not found in material possessions, but in what sustains life, heals the soul, and elevates the spirit. And yet, greed blinds people to this truth. It makes them lose business, families, friendship, and even themselves. It separates them from God, for although God is always available to everyone if you truly seek Him, but the day will come when His presence will no longer be available in the same way, and only then will humanity release the immeasurable value of what was really offered. Let me clarify. I'm not saying that you don't need money, a car, or even an iPhone. Of course you do. These things have their place in a modern life. But above all, you must know what is genuinely important for you. Otherwise, you will fall into the trap of greed, an invisible disease mixed with ego, pride, and uncontrolled desires that makes you act without calculation, without balance, and without love for yourself. So, how do you stop greed from dominating your life? The answer is simple yet profound. When you win, choose simplicity. When you have abundance, choose humility. When you can possess everything, choose authenticity, originality, and real love. In one single word, I'm saying choose God. Because in the end, having everything without God is the same as having nothing. Therefore, master your ego, your lust, your pride, and your greed. Do not allow yourself to be the perfect slave. Remember, in the final analysis, it's not about money, fame, or possessions. It's about you, your soul, your essence, your eternity. And never forget, you are what they want.